This episode of Minor Obsession is brought to you by the UNC Charlotte Belk College of Business, North Carolina's urban research business school. As alumni of Belk College ourselves, we encourage you to visit belkcollege.uncc.edu and learn how Charlotte's business school can inspire your career path. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Minor Obsession. Sean Newton here with Scott Lieberman, as always, and we've got some good stuff to talk about. We have reached prime time spring season for 49ers sports. We've got basketball still in full swing of things, plowing towards the finish line. We've got tennis up and running. We've got track and field going. We've got softball and baseball getting started this week, and I'm excited. It's a great time. There's always something to be watching pretty much every day of the week, so if you're a huge Niners fan and want some information or want to watch something to get a little sports fill in, you've got lots of options this time of year. So let's get right into it. Let's start talking with a team that is doing really well right now. Scott, why don't you give us some info on basketball? Yeah, I mean, basketball is doing awesome with a capital A, baby, in the words of Dickie V. One game away from hitting that 15-win mark that we've been talking about all season. That would give us just about double the wins of the last 3 seasons, which is awesome. Tale of 2 different teams, of course, at home versus away. But at home, man, are we firing on all cylinders. 12-1 at home on a 9-game home winning streak. Just took 2 big Conference USA wins over the weekend. UTEP on Thursday night during Tornado Day, which I came out to the game and braved the elements, and I'm glad I did. What a great game that was. Didn't look too hot at the beginning. UTEP was just making everything. We played good defense, but they were just making threes. They were shooting 50% at one point. And then the second half came, and we just kind of hung in there, stayed strong, and then took over at the very end and made some key free throws and D'd up really well. There was like a 10-minute stretch there where the scoring just kind of stopped, which when that happens, most people would say, ooh, this is boring basketball. When that happens, I say 49ers are probably going to win the game, because when defense is firing at all cylinders, usually the offense does just enough, if not more than enough, to get us there. So real classic 49er game there against UTEP. And then we played UTSA on Saturday, and kind of the reverse of that. 91 points, gave up 84. A lot of scoring in that one. And, yeah, it's looking real good at home. We're still right in the hunt to be in that elite top 4 to get those bonus games. And our next game is really that game that's going to make or break us. It's going to be an 8 o'clock tip on Thursday on ESPN3. So if you are not an ESPN Plus subscriber, this game's available for you on the internet for free. And it's against North Texas, who's leading the conference. And it should be an exciting matchup. I know we have not been too great on the road. 2-8 thus far. One of those wins against Wilmington, who, isn't the best opponent necessarily. And then one conference win on the road, which was surprising. We've been in some games like we talked about last week with Southern Miss going into overtime and losing that heartbreaker. So it should be a real test for the team. If we can beat North Texas and get our 15th win, I got a lot of hope going into bonus play and then tournament play that we could actually make a significant run here.
Yeah, I like our ability to show different teams, kind of what you just talked about for UTEP versus UTSA. Big thing for me with the score for the UTSA game, not only did we score a lot, but we also held the lead the entire time. UTSA was battling. They were obviously scoring, but this was one of the better showings, I thought, from the 49ers from an offensive standpoint, where not only was the defense able to keep us in the lead, but the offense was also helping on that front too. So I thought that was a really great piece, a great win to get heading into this part of the season, to be able to prove to yourself again that, yes, if you need to, and your shooters are on, you can score with the best of them. But I think, like we've talked about the whole time, defense is going to be the name of the game. And we're getting some help across the conference, we got a crucial win by Marshall to keep us in a three-way tie for third place. Southern Miss gave Western Kentucky a run for their money and couldn't quite handle it at the end of the game. So currently conference standings, North Texas, Western Kentucky, and then us, Florida International and Louisiana Tech, they're in the third place. So, I mean, it's a toss-up. We've got a really good shot to be in that top tier for bonus play and even getting a first-round bye when conference tournament time comes, as long as we keep playing at the caliber we've been playing.
For sure. And going back to that UTSA game, I think that's a great point you brought up. What I really like is the distribution on offense, how we definitely have our stars, per se, that come up, but it's really well distributed across the team. If you look at UTSA, they pretty much had their two stars with 25 and 27 points respectively. One guy in 14 and everyone else in single digits. Well, we kind of distributed pretty evenly with Jordan Shepard leading the way with 26, Malik Martin with 19, Jameer Young with 16, Drew Edwards with 13, and then Supaka and Bamba, not quite at 10 points, but kind of hovering there. Extra tip slam or something would have got them there too. So I like that we have 4 or 5 guys that can get to double digits at any night.
I do too, and I thought that game was crucial for Jameer Young. He's had a tough little stretch over the past 2 or 3 games and didn't start strong in the UTSA game either, but stuck with it, continued to put up shots, continued to stick with his game, and they started to fall along the way. So I look for him to build on that momentum going into this road trip against North Texas and Rice and really get back to that freshman of the week caliber player we're used to seeing out on the court from a scoring standpoint. Still been playing great, but just the balls haven't quite been going in the bucket for him.
And I just love his confidence. He plays with such poise. To be a freshman is just unbelievable. And again, I just cannot wait to continue to watch the development of him and really see him become one of our leaders in the next couple of years.
Agreed. So moving on to women's basketball team is carrying the torch as well for Conference USA play. Currently sitting still in the middle of the pack, but rounded off a tough Texas trip with a 1-1 record there. Same teams, obviously, like always. Fell to UTEP in overtime. That was an exciting game. It was on ESPN Plus. I feel like a lot of people were tuning in. I saw a lot of excitement on social media when the team scored, and the I guess the resiliency that I saw was just unbelievable. We talk a lot. The men's hashtag is dig in, and the women definitely dug in on this game too. They were down by close to 10 points towards the end of the game and still battled back. I saw Octavia Jet Wilson drain a 3 to tie the game up and send it to overtime. He had a couple other clutch threes. Jade Phillips, not normally her game, but she drained a few threes. And then our freshman Koenig, too, a couple clutch threes. So shooting was the name of the game there. A little tough loss to have after you battle back so hard. Overtime was a different story where UTEP really just kind of overpowered us and scored 10 right off the bat unanswered. And so a little bit too much to overcome, but I thought it was a great showing for the women to be able to battle back like that. And it's got to be a moral victory for them to know that they can fight that hard even down late in the game. And then you've got UTSA that they knocked off. So 1-1 road trip there. They've got the reverse of the men, as always, North Texas and Rice at home this week. So excited to see what comes out.
And the UTSA game, just to talk to it for a second, similar to the men, they won by 20 points wire to wire. But the big thing was, again, that distribution of 5 players in double figures. Octavia with 13, Mariah Linney with 10, Jade Phillips with 10, Jasmine Harris with 14, and Lauren Harley with 10. So 5 players in double figures, distributed the ball well. You got to love that kind of basketball. And, 2 players with 5 assists each, and Jade and Jada McMillan. So good stuff from the women. Really putting on a strong showing. 15-7, 6-5 in conference. I still think we're gonna do well in the tournament when we get there.
I think situations like this are ones that really spell good for tournament play. You come off a tough overtime loss on a Thursday night and then turn around, travel, and on Saturday afternoon you've got to take on a team and battle and dominate them, essentially. And so that similar type of mentality has to factor through in tournament play when you've got one day in between games, if that, and always up against an opponent knowing it could be your last opponent. So
for sure.
I like the heart.
But to be fair, UTEP is pretty good, kind of evenly matched with us at 13-8 and 6-4 in conference, or 7-4 now. While the UTSA has 6 wins for the season. Not quite as good of a team, but we showed that and beat them by 20 wire to wire. So that's important that we did that.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple home games coming up next week. Try to come out to those.
Moving on to another, I'll call it on fire team. Really starting the season strong here. Women's tennis, 7-2 currently. Just firing on all cylinders already. Coach Davison has them really working hard and putting up strong numbers. So since we last talked, they knocked off UNCG 5-2. Charleston Southern swept them 7-0, and then College of Charleston 6-1, which is, as the team let us know, the best program performance against College of Charleston in school history. So really great start there. Coming up, we've got a tough stretch of road matches here. So North Carolina Central on the 15th, North Carolina on the 15th, and I should say North Carolina Chapel Hill for everybody out there who hates them as much as I do. And then Wofford on the 22nd. So tough stretch there. We'll see if they can keep this streak up going to the end of February with double-digit wins, hopefully, with the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, and moving to men's tennis, we had a tough loss this weekend against Princeton, but we had our second player named Conference USA Player of the Week. Unfortunately, it was not my boy Henry Lieberman this time, but someone everyone should be pretty familiar with, Cristoforo, who was part of that top-ranked doubles squad last year. So this is his second time being named Conference Player of the Week, pretty much around the same time last year in 2019. So good stuff from him. When we beat Clemson the week before, that's what he got the award from.
And now to the spring sports everybody loves when it gets warm enough outside to see, softball and baseball. Softball just kicked off over the weekend. We had the Charlotte Invitational at home, and the crowd there was just insane. It was packed house for all the games. It was awesome to see so many people come out and support the team on opening weekend. And tough stretch, honestly. Virginia and Appalachian State were in town for this. Lost to Virginia in 11 innings to open the season, which was an incredible way to start Ashley Chastain's coaching career here. And bounced back from that Saturday afternoon to beat Appalachian State 9-5. Then lost again to Virginia later that day, 6-7, and then lost to App State Sunday, 1-4. So tough little stretch there, starting the season 1-3. Saw a lot of heart, a lot of good things out there, a lot of battling, some home runs, which is great to see, and just really excited to see what this women's softball team can do in the first year under a new head coach.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to baseball kicking off here soon with a new head coach as well, and Coach Woodward. And 2 big games obviously happens every year, but want to make sure that everyone's aware. Tuesday nights, March 17th and 24th at BB&T Ballpark. Always a fun one to go out to. We've got Wake Forest the 17th and NC State as usual the 24th. So be on the lookout for those. You can buy your tickets now. And I'm sure the alumni has some deals too with food and outfield seats. So lots of different ways to get tickets and support your Niners, but always a good time. Gone to that the last, 5-6 years whenever the ballpark was built, and every time it's pretty good, and each year I feel like we're more and more competitive. So hopefully this will be a good way to start off the new era.
Agreed. And more importantly, the BB&T stuff's super fun, but this weekend is actually opening day for baseball. So February 14th, that's Friday, Valentine's Day, if you're looking for something super romantic to take your significant other to. VCU is in town. So Friday at 3, that game opens up the season for the men, and they have a 3-game series with VCU at home. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all have good games to watch. Be sure you come out and support the team. And then they travel off to Tennessee the week after to open up. So looking to see a strong showing from Woody or Coach Woodard's first series as the head coach of the 49ers. We got our friend Bo Robinson still down there as the associate head coach. Everybody else on the team, really excited to see what they throw down, and we'll keep you up to date along the way with how baseball does.
Absolutely. Only other thing I want to give an update on, and then Sean, anything else you have, is XFL kicked off this week, and what a way to start it for the New York Guardians, but none other than Austin Duke with a sweet 40-yard return. Greg Olson on commentary for all of our you Charlotteans, giving him a lot of love about playing with his brother and playing with him as well back when he was a Panther for a little bit. So that was a really cool moment. Didn't really get any catches during the game, though he was the starting wide receiver. So hoping to see more action from him on the offensive side next week, Saturday, 2 o'clock against the DC Defenders, who also look very exciting. The XFL, I'm pretty pumped about it. I wouldn't mind some of these kind of changes to take effect maybe in the NCAA if they don't go to the NFL.
Yeah, everybody seems happy about the kickoff stuff, and Austin Duke certainly took advantage of it on that first kickoff. I think that was the most exciting play I saw all weekend across the XFL games I watched. We'll see. I think the interest is there, and there's some interesting things that they have going on. So I'll be excited to see how the crowds turn out for those games and what the viewership looks like on TV. But I know I'll be tuning into all the Guardians games for sure.
Definitely. And for those that haven't watched it, what's really cool about it and what I think me and Sean are crossing our fingers for is someone misses a field goal or someone gets a touchdown or whatever. Immediately there is a lady with a microphone like right in their face. So I'm hoping that that's going to be Austin Duke next week and he gets a live mic for 30 seconds and gives a shout out to Minor Obsession, his favorite UNC Charlotte podcast. No pressure, Austin.
Can you imagine? Austin Duke, you just scored a touchdown. What's going through your head now? Well, I just want to give a shout out to the guys over at Minor Obsession. You probably never heard of that because you're not a Charlotte 49er, but they're big deal.
Yeah, they're always supporting me and my endeavors, and I appreciate that. It's what got me here.
I can see that happen now.
Either way, we'll probably, we've had him on the show once. He might be our first. Yeah, I guess we've had a few people a second time, but we need to get him on the show probably in the next couple weeks and hear what's going on with him in the XFL season.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's all the updates we had for this week. Sports are in full swing, looking for the warmer days ahead of us. It's been a little interesting weather around here in Charlotte, so excited for outdoor activities to come back, and that means going to watch Niners things outside, which is awesome. So be sure to check out the schedules for all your favorite teams and head out there and support. And until we talk to you next time, be sure to keep an eye out on Facebook, Minor_Obsession on all your favorite social media accounts, and minorobsession49@gmail.com. And until next time, as always, wear green
and go Niners.